Welcome back into Golden State Warriors today. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic week. A lot to touch on and get to on today's show. But first, one of the cool things about hosting this show is seeing where people are watching from. Honestly, we look at the numbers, we look at the analytics. People tune into Warriors today from all across the globe. So let us know where exactly you are right now in the comments section so others can see that Golden State Warriors today has gone worldwide. As for what we're getting into on today's show, could the Dubs trade for Jaylen Brown if he's made available if the Boston Celtics lose in ugly fashion to the Miami Heat? One ambitious trade for Golden State as well that we'll unpack, and Steph Curry wins an award. What is it? We'll tell you a little bit later on in the program. Let's start here. Jaylen Brown. So the Boston Celtics able to avoid the sweep at the hands of the Miami Heat by winning Game 4. The series now goes back to Boston for Game 5. If the Celtics do win that game, all of the pressure is on the Miami Heat at home for Game 6. But if they lose Game 5 at home, a lot of the conversation and discourse around the NBA is going to be about Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, and can they coexist or not. Now, they've made it to a lot of Eastern Conference Finals. They made it to the NBA Finals together last year, but it has looked a little bit clunky throughout this playoff run, and some people believe that a change of scenery from one of their star players and changing up the roster a little bit is going to allow the Boston Celtics to finally get over the hump. Brown has been at the center of a lot of NBA trade rumors for the reasons that I listed, and if the Celtics don't win the NBA Finals, a lot of people do believe that changes will be made. Does Brown want to be a number 2 again, or does he want to be a star player? There's been a team floated out there like the Atlanta Hawks. He would probably still be the number 2 alongside Trae Young. Or does Jaylen Brown just want to win and chase championships? And does he want to come back to NorCal where he played his college ball at California? So there's this trade idea that we stumbled upon where the Celtics would receive Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga. They get a much-needed wing with size who can play the front court in Kuminga and a very good two-way player in Andrew Wiggins, but they're less of an offensive player than Jaylen Brown. What that then allows Jayson Tatum to be is the bona fide number 1 option on the offensive end, where you get to the fourth quarter, and there's not a question about who's going to take a shot. Jayson Tatum doesn't always have to defer. He can be the guy that he was at the end of Game 6 against Philadelphia, and in Game 7 against the Sixers, who goes off and displayed this unbelievable offensive outpouring of points. Whereas sometimes at the end of games, it's like both of those guys, JB and JT, are looking at each other. It's like, you want to take the shot? I want to take the shot. Who's going to take the shot? Jaylen Brown's a really good player. Is he a number 1? I don't believe so. I think in order to be a number 1, you need to be a little bit better of a ball handler. You need to be a little bit more consistent, but he's a very good defensive player. He's improved his offensive arsenal. He has become very well-rounded, and he is a dog in the NBA at a position that a lot of teams are desperate for. That's at that wing spot. NBA analysis on that trade. Brown is on an expiring deal. If this doesn't work out, Warriors can let him walk next summer. If it does, they can move heaven and earth to keep him in town. Of course, that may sound silly to some. The Warriors may end up trading Wiggins and Kuminga for a 1-year rental. This isn't a salary dump. The Dubs looking to make a win-now move here. Brown is completely, comfortably, and as an offensive weapon, a very dynamic player in this deal. Within the Warriors' elite system, he could be key to an elite NBA title run next year. And this is really Golden State going all in. This is Golden State trying to surround Steph Curry with the best players possible. And I don't think it would be a 1-year rental for Jaylen Brown. Because he was named to an All-NBA team, he is due and is eligible, for a max contract. So that money would have to be fat. But if you get rid of a Jordan Poole at some point this offseason, you get rid of an Andrew Wiggins, that clears up a lot of money, and then you look ahead. Do you bring back Klay Thompson as he's entering the final year of his deal on a contract extension? That could save you even more money. And you get a little bit younger with Jaylen Brown as well. So would you do it? Would you trade for JB? Let us know down in the comment section. T for trade or P for pass. Embrace debate among Dub Nation. I know it's a hot topic on these social media streets. As for Andrew Wiggins, Jaylen Brown's the better offensive player than Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins slightly might be better on the defensive end of the floor. Wiggins only 37 games played this year because of injury and then the family situation. We saw in that game 4, he was really good. And then, that was game 5, he was really good. And then he suffered that rib injury. Game 6 wasn't the same guy. Took him a little bit to get acclimated throughout the playoffs. Like, he wasn't great to start that series against the Sacramento Kings, but we kind of know what Andrew Wiggins is, a very good two-way player. Not great, but very good. And Jonathan Kuminga, it's all about the potential. And the Celtics could look at Jonathan Kuminga as a guy who they can mold into their next Jaylen Brown, because I compared Kuminga coming out of the G League in the NBA draft a couple of years ago to Jaylen Brown. Now, Brown is more refined, and Jonathan Kuminga does need to refine his skill set a lot more, but similar size, similar skills with where they were when they entered the NBA draft. Still more to get to on today's show, but if you haven't signed up with our sportsbook partner, BetUS, you got to get to it, man. 125% deposit bonus at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125. You put in $100, you get $125 back. This is pretty interesting, right? The odds for LeBron's next team, if not the Los Angeles Lakers, peep who's number 6 on that list. Golden State Warriors. 9-1 odds there. Suns, Cavs, Clippers, Knicks, and Sixers all ahead of the Golden State Warriors. But a lot of chatter that both sides could be interested in LeBron heading to the Dubs. Of course, if it happens, we'll cover it here on the show. If there's a paper trail behind it, we're going to talk about it for sure. Let's round out with this. So we talk about Golden State bolstering that wing spot. Could they trade for Paul George? Bleacher Report proposing a Warriors trade for Paul George. Now, the Celtics could look to blow it up if they go out ugly against Miami. The Clippers could look to blow it up because they invested so heavily in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They barely played together, and they don't have a lot of success to show for it. The one time that they made it to the conference finals, they made that deep run, and that was with them shorthanded. So the Bleacher Report trade idea. Warriors get Paul George, who is injured a lot. The Clippers receive Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, as well as first-round picks. Might have to be 1, might have to be 2. The problem here with Paul George, it's the games played and the time that he's missed. Games played with the Clippers, 2019-20, only 48, although that was the COVID-shortened season. The following season, only 54, then 31, then 56. But then he got injured in the playoffs, and he missed a lot of time for Los Angeles in that series. And that is problematic. The injury concerns are there. I might even like Paul George more than some other people like Paul George. I think that he's a good wing, very good defensive player. I like his offensive bag. He can get a bucket. I'm not sure he's a number 1, but when healthy, he's one of the top number 2s out there. Would you trade for Paul George? This is interesting. Him and Jaylen Brown. I'd go Brown over George just because Brown is the younger player, and you're going to be paying a lot of money to either of them. Y for yes or N for no, and help us reach 56,000 subscribers. We are 886 people away. Producer Jack did his Gatorade bath last week. That video came out on Saturday after we got to 50,000, 56,000 up next. Steph Curry winning an award. He was named the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion by the NBA. Here's what Steph had to say about that new hardware, and he's racking up the hardware, man. As an athlete, I consistently leverage my platform to amplify advocacy and address the pervasive issue of systemic racism. I firmly believe that we must be vocal both on social media and in real life. I love that part, and in real life, because social media doesn't always do the job, taking tangible actions to affect real change in our society and for generations to come. Steph continues to be an impressive person on and off the court. Another reason why there. Show Curry some love. Spam his jersey number down in the comment section. It's that number 30. And we'll catch you next time here on Warriors Today.